Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the latest webinar as part of our 2023 Sustainable Business Series. I'm Raj Kandola, Director of External Affairs at Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce, and I'd like to welcome you all to today's session. Now, for those of you not familiar with it, the Sustainable Business Series endeavours to tackle climate change by supporting businesses in their transition to net zero, highlighting best practice, providing insight and guidance. And today, I'm delighted to say that we're joined by Liz Russell, who's the Head of Relocation Services at Restore Harrow Green. By way of background, Restore Harrow Green have supported organisations to change and grow for over 30 years, specialising in the design and creation of effective workspaces, business relocation, technology move and storage services. So, Liz, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Raj. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so just wanted to kind of build upon that kind of introduction. If you could just share some insight into your role at Restore Harrow Green and a bit more on what the organisation does, that'd be great.
Okay, so we've definitely seen some major changes in the way we need to manage projects for clients going forwards in regard to having sustainability as a key point of reference for them. And just to give you a little bit of an idea at the moment on in the UK alone, there is an estimated every year that we get rid of 1.2 million chairs, and we're talking about commercial office furniture chairs, and 1.8 million desks every single year. Along with that as well, and this is estimated by Statista, the green technology and sustainability market worldwide will grow by 600% from 61 billion to 417 billion by 2030, which is huge. So everybody is looking at how we deliver this going forward for our clients, and a lot of our suppliers in regard to furniture are making some remarkable progress in it. The Herman Miller Aeron chair, for example, is now being manufactured from ocean-bound plastics. So that's a huge thing. The Orange Box Do chair, which is probably one of the most popular office chairs that's out there at the moment, is being manufactured with organic and recyclable household waste. And this waste is converted into thermoplastic material. And the Kinops Mento chair, is 100% recyclable. So you can see that our supply chain is already doing many things to help in getting to the goals where we all want to be.
No, that's great. No, that's really interesting to hear as well. Some of those figures are mind-boggling, aren't they? I mean, from Harrow Green's perspective, what would you say are the key principles that drive your sustainability approach?
I think at the end of the day, this is about reducing waste massively, and we're not just talking about, we have an absolute commitment with landfill, even in our refresh programme, which we'll go on to a little bit later on that, we aim to keep landfill down to less than 1% when doing office clearances. It's a huge commitment. It takes a lot of work in order to be able to do that. But the main thing, as I said, is reducing waste and this carbon saving, certainly from the fact of, the effect on the environment and, considering the circular economy when we look at every single project that we undertake for our clients.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And, you mentioned it earlier, but the refresh program. So what is that? And what are the environmental benefits this program brings to your clients?
So the refresh programme is about having a single sourced solution for no longer required assets. So we're not just looking at, furniture and, from your desk to your chair and that. We're looking at IT equipment, redundant equipment throughout the office. We're looking at, even things like, paper waste, ink cartridges, every element that you use within the office. When it comes to, a recycling project, we aim to find this one solution which will literally resolve the need for items to go to landfill. And ultimately as well, even being recycled, our main aim is to find new homes and reuse solutions for items in the future.
You mentioned these networks, and are these networks that you've cultivated previously? How does it go? How do you go about kind of finding these different organisations to work with?
Well, there's been years of development of it, starting off with, major projects that we might have had in the past. We've learned and developed over a period of time what works and what doesn't work. Along with that, we've also, formed alliances and partnerships with companies that are very much doing the same thing for, non-for-profit organisations that look at helping other charitable companies and other solutions to get furniture and equipment that they just wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. Perfect example of this would be something like Business to Schools, who work predominantly in allowing schools to go onto their website and create a wish list of items that they want. Sometimes then what will happen is, if we're lucky enough that we can actually have enough sight on a clearance job, that we can actually pre-arrange for items to be delivered straight into schools and that. Otherwise, the solution is that we will go to Business to Schools and say, okay, then we have, for example, 20, 30 TAMB units, 1,400 desks, etc., and Business to Schools will find the perfect place for those to go. But it's not just limited to schools and that. We're talking about many, many charities as well. Now, in a lot of cases, some furniture items and equipment can actually be sold through their public areas, their shops, that sort of thing. Other items go directly into onward sale, for example, auction and that, which then can get them money back, that sort of thing. So, for example, we undertook the clearance of a whole university campus a few years ago, and within that there were 7 large dorm buildings, and we managed to actually find the home for over 1,000 mattresses and beds through the YMCA. Wow. So, it does take some work. The more sight that we have, the more we're involved in these processes from the beginning, we will get a better solution for everybody involved in it, not just the client themselves, but the end user. And they make a great story. So we certainly, and we're building constantly on that as well. So the more we do and the more unique things that we have to try and find homes for, the bigger our portfolio of donationable companies become.
Yeah, which is really fantastic to hear. Now, as we know, Restore Harrow Green have been supporting the Chambers with its move to a new building. How have you reduced the environmental impact of the Chambers move? And are there any examples of best practice that you believe the business community would find valuable?
I mean, there certainly is. I mean, if we take, for example, just something as simple as the task chair that we sit on every single day, many, many designs, they are ultimately made very, very well these days. So when it comes to the fabric wear and that sort of thing on them, that's the first thing they would have thought the first thing they would do would be throw them out. We'll buy new. The fact about it is it's actually 50% cheaper to send off a chair to get it regassed and reupholstered, cleaned up, looking like brand new, and you not only have you saved a large amount of money, you've done a great thing for the environment as well. Yeah. So, for example, when it comes to the Chambers move, what we're going to do is we've actually sourced 44 brand new task chairs that have come from a donation from another company, and those are all going to be refurbished, regassed and brought back into the Chamber when you move to your new place. Your existing chairs we're going to be taking away and doing exactly the same thing, which then allows them to go back into the marketplace for future companies or businesses that may want to purchase them.
Which in itself was a really good example of kind of circular economy in action.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that we work really closely on as well is that, a lot of offices are reducing the desk space. People just don't need that amount of desk space anymore. So, what was used to be 20 years ago, we would be looking at a 2,000 millimetre or 2 metre desk, has slowly reduced in space over the time. And now the most common requirement is your 1,200 to your 1,400 desks. So in the case at the moment, we have taken something in the region of 2,000 desks from a company that, white desks, 1,600, and we've had them all reduced down to 1,400. So the framework can remain the same, especially if it's telescopic framework. You don't need to be getting rid of the framework. We can actually reduce it all down and obviously create more space. There's an awful lot now about creating collaboration areas and that sort of thing.
Yep.
And the initial cost of furniture, booths and breakout seating and that sort of thing, it really is considering refurbing, reupholstering and that sort of thing, rather than actually getting rid of the items.
And is that a trend you've seen accelerated post-pandemic with more people working from home, or is that something more of a longer-term trend you've seen in the market?
I think it's slowly been gathering steam over the last few years, without a shadow of a doubt. We know that there's a lot of people still working at home, and there's a big push towards making the office space more desirable for people to come into and that sort of thing. And of course, now they have a little bit more space because they've not got everybody in the office at the same time. So there's new and interesting and innovative ways that people are creating space for people to be able to work in. We will see a huge push in the reuse and refurbishment of furniture going forward. Now that there will be a huge push towards it because of there's a demand for it. For the good side of what happens, how good that is for the company, but also, it is about reducing the amount that ends up in, going for recycling, not just landfill. I mean, when we say that, over a million chairs, I mean, they are recycled, but there will be a small element that would be going to landfill, and this just negates all of that completely.
Which is fantastic to hear. I mean, Liz, that's been brilliant. Really, really, really interesting discussion there. And again, thank you for all your support with our move to the new office.
Exciting times.
Yes, very much so. Well, I'd just like to say thank you to Liz for joining us today, but also I'd like to thank our sponsors, University College Birmingham and Lloyds Bank. Thanks to their support, all Sustainable Business Series events, webinars and content is free to access for the business community. And to our viewers, please don't forget to register for Sustainable Business Series events and webinars on the Chamber website. Many thanks.